That movie sucked.
I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.
They trudged up the misty field between long rows of tents. Most looked almost ordinary. Their owners had clearly tried to make them as muggle-like as possible, but had slipped up by adding chimneys or bell pulls or weather vanes. However, here and there was a tent so obviously magical that Harry could hardly be surprised that Mr. Roberts was getting suspicious. Halfway up the field stood an extravagant confection of striped silk like a miniature palace with several live peacocks tethered at the entrance. A little farther on, they passed a tent that had 3 floors and several turrets, and a short way beyond that was a tent that had a front garden attached, complete with bird bath, sundial, and fountain. What's up, potheads? Welcome to the Restricted section. It's a show in which a bunch of nerds with potty mouths reread the Harry Potter series for the umpteenth time and discuss how the story and its themes have stayed with a generation into adulthood. Thank you for being here today. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry, we did it for you. Here's what we're talking about today. Chapter 7, Bagman and Crouch. In this chapter, the Weasleys, Harry, and Hermione settle into their campsite. We get to see more of the greater wizarding community in this one chapter than in literally all of the previous books combined. We also get to meet Ludo Bagman, head of the Department of Magical Games and Sports, and Barty Crouch, head of the Department of International Magical Cooperation. The day wears on until finally it's time. It's time to go to the Quidditch World Cup. Tune in next week for the game. Welcome to the Restricted section, where old men wear flowing, flowery nightgowns to get a healthy breeze around their privates sometimes. I'm joined today by my friend Grace. Say hello to the listeners, Grace.
Hello, listeners. I am pleased as punch to be here.
Yes. And our special guest today is none other than Michael Boothby from the Movie Night Crew. Say hello to the listeners, Michael.
Hello, listeners. Thank you for listening to me on this other podcast on the network.
Thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about your very hairy history? Like, when did you get into the books? When did you get into the movies? Like, who helped you along the way?
Reading Harry Potter was like one of my favorite experiences as a kid growing up. I always loved reading. Like I read like Lord of the Rings when I was probably in like 3rd grade or so, you know? And so I'd always loved reading, and Harry Potter was like obviously one of my favorite books. I still remember like when the books were coming out. Like I remember when Goblet of Fire came out, and it's like, right, we went to the store and like got the book, and like you'd spend up all night just like reading it, tearing through the pages, which like people probably don't do at all anymore, right? Like what's a book anymore, right? But I don't know.
Wow, you wrong people for that joke.
Right. Well, I don't know. Zoomers, I don't know. I think everyone's like, everything's on a screen now, and like we didn't grow up with screens. We grew up with books and Nintendo 64s.
It's true, and it's also true that I mean, definitely I don't think any books are nearly as, like, anticipated and savored as these books were in their day.
Oh, it was nuts. I mean, I think the only thing I can really kind of compare it to now is, like, when, like, Game of Thrones was on TV, and, like, how, like, when all the... even though I'd already kind of read the books until it got to the point where they would surpass the books,
right.
which never happened with Harry Potter, thank God. But it's, like, that same kind of energy, like, right? Like, when the books came out, it was such a big deal. I was awful. Actually, I was really awful because when Order of the Phoenix came out, like I remember I spent like the next 2 days reading the books, and I ended up spoiling that Sirius Black dies to my sister. She still does not forgive me for that, and I get it. I was being
that's pretty rough.
Yeah, I was being a stupid little boy.
We all have Harry Potter drama and trauma.
Yeah.
So, Michael, what Hogwarts house are you, if you had to pick one or a couple?
Oh, so I think like a few months ago or something, you sent me the link to the quiz, or like I'd never done it before. I think I was a Hufflepuff. I think.
Aww. Yay!
I think so.
lovingly accept you into House Hufflepuff.
Awesome. Thanks. Happy
That
to be
tracks.
here. Yeah.
You're very like friendship driven, very easy to get along with.
Yeah, very welcoming person.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, and I think the other one that might have been me is Ravenclaw. But, like, what's like is that's more kind of like intelligent, like really like brainy and like cunning, right?
Yeah, and that would have been like I think my second guess for you is Ravenclaw
Yeah.
because of your like interest in the arts and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll allow it. We love a Ravenpuff on this show.
Yeah.
Our guest last week was Ravenpuff also, our friend Anna. It's a bit of like a Luna Lovegood vibe, and honestly, Michael, I see that for you.
Yeah, definitely. Like when
It tracks.
when I think of like Luna Lovegood, I'm like, that's the person who I want to be friends with. Like she's so
Yes.
weird, but like really out there, but like so just like kind-hearted, like means well, loves her friends, you know.
Yeah, something that you and Luna Lovegood have in common is that I really do feel like I could kind of say pretty much anything to you, and you'd be like, cool, yeah, that's an interesting perspective. I'd love to talk about that. You know, like
Yeah, just like zero
pretty
judgment.
much anything.
Yeah.
Zero judgment zone.
Definitely. I'm definitely that kind of guy who, I mean, I pride myself on just like encouraging other people to be comfortable expressing themselves. I mean, you know, my background is in like performing and teaching improv, and that's what it is. Like I'm always just trying to yes and my friends and life in general, you know. It's more fun that way, you know.
Yeah.
I respect
Oh my
it.
gosh. Absolutely. And actually, just a little bit of podcast lore for the listeners. We know Michael because he met Brooke while they were both traveling in New Zealand, which I think is so cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then you guys both ended up back here in Richmond.
Yeah, we did. Well, I mean, she was from here, you know, it was funny because, like, my sisters moved here probably, like, 6 years ago now, and I would come and visit them for, like, holidays and stuff, and I would go and like, meet up with Brooke and get coffee and stuff, and, like, we'd talk about life in Chicago and all of that, so it's, like, it was so cool when I finally ended up here. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm moving to Richmond. She was like, okay, cool. Come
Hell
meet
yeah.
my friends, you know. Here I am.
Did you talk about life in Chicago just because it interested you, or did you live in Chicago?
I lived
at
in
the time?
Chicago. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
when I came back from New Zealand, right, I was like living back with my parents in Florida for like probably only a month, and then it was like I'm going to Chicago because I wanted to like perform, and I mean I
Right.
wanted, yeah, you know, I wanted to like be on SNL and all that. Yeah,
And living with parents in Florida is a vibe.
it is vibe. I did an activity earlier that made me feel like I still live with my parents, which was like watching the local news at 6 and then watching NBC nightly news at 6:30.
Oh my god.
Like I did that tonight,
Flashbacks.
and yeah, I did that tonight. And I'm like, whoa, like, are my parents here? What's going on? Because I would never do that. I don't ever watch the news, and it's like, and I did tonight. And I was like, obviously, so many horrible things. You know, there's nothing good on the news.
Yes, right. It's not great for self-care to watch the news.
No, you know, and they're not telling you anything that you don't already know. It's like, like a school shooting, and it's like, and even the newscasters at this point are like, yeah, it's can't believe this keeps happening, but it happened again. And it's like, God dang it. Like, really?
Yeah.
You already
Definitely
know.
doom and gloom.
Yeah. America being America. Which is why we
Classic
read
America.
books about wizards.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Let's enter that fantasy land. But we're going to start with an email. That's not very fantastical.
Okay.
It has been a while, I think, since we've read an email from our beloved friend Motts. But Motts has sent us an email. He actually sent this a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I'm going to save it for this chapter. This is a little bit of a spoiler alert for what happens later in this chapter, even though we're all spoilers all the time. Here's this email from Motts. Motts says, did you know that Ludo Bagman canonically owns half an eel farm?
What?
In Goblet of Fire, Chapter 7, Bagman and Crouch, which is the chapter we're covering today, Ludo Bagman reveals that, quote, little Agatha Timms has put up half shares in her eel farm on a week-long match for the, like, betting that the World Cup will take a week to, like, play out.
Yeah.
Which we know did not happen, as a certain Bulgarian seeker decided that he was going to catch the snitch early despite his team being down by a very manageable amount of points, and no professional athlete in the world would ever make that decision, especially not in the World Cup final. Okay, I'm done. Parentheses. I'm totally not still mad at this about this. Why are you asking? End parentheses. Anyway, Crumb catching the snitch early made sure that Ludo Bagman won his bet and gained half an eel farm. Not 100% sure if I'd call that a win necessarily, but that could just be me. I will never not find it funny that Ludo Bagman owns half an eel farm. And mods keep saying the phrase half an eel farm because it is like extremely ridiculous.
It is only half.
How?
Like, what does he do? Did he just retire from his ministry job to become an eel farmer full time? I like to picture Bagman walking up to those goblins with whom he was betting, trying to bribe them with a bag of eels.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Love that.
That's the kind of thing that's like, they do say that, like that, they mention that bet in this chapter.
I'm trying to find it because I remember when I first, like when I was rereading it, I was like, this is kind of wild. This is something as a kid, like I didn't really get, but now that I've actually like traded stocks a little bit, like I've done a little bit of gambling, I'm like, whoa, like what's going on here?
I'd take that bet.
My favorite, I think, honestly, my favorite part of this chapter was like when the guy's like, "Who wants to get some bets?" And some people are like, and then Fred's just like, "Yo, here's all the money we have. Like, let's YOLO in. This is what's gonna." Oh, they're like, Ireland will win, but Crumb's gonna catch the snitch. Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, like that would ever happen? I'll give you good odds." I forget if that's what does happen. I feel like maybe it does. I don't know though.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this how Fred and George got the money to start their, like, shop? Is, like, in this crazy bet?
Just you wait.
Okay.
Just you wait. Better read along. Anyway, thank you so much, Mots, for that email. Thank you for really, like, highlighting this thing that I think we all have passed over in reading several times before, and we might have even passed over in today's conversation, but it is super ridiculous and it deserves to be underlined.
I agree completely.
I love that, yeah.
Doesn't Bagman, like, kind of go away because he owes all of these people money and stuff?
He goes away to the farm.
He goes on the eel instead of on the lamb. That's a terrible joke. I take it all back.
That was pretty good. I really liked it. Yeah, I was gonna say that they sent him to a farm upstate.
Okay.
Is that what happens?
Isn't that a euphemism for putting down your dog?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah,
But like, wait, but what does one do? What does an eel farmer do?
Okay.
Farms.
I mean, I guess you can sell eel on the market.
So eels live in the water, just as a reminder to everyone. They're like aquatic creatures.
Yes.
And one time I visited my friend who lives in Alaska. She is like a psychiatrist, I think, in Alaska, in Sitka, which is an island on the southern coast. And her boyfriend at the time worked for like a salmon hatchery, basically a salmon farm. They would grow salmon egg. I'm getting really turned around now. They would grow salmon eggs and then like release the salmon into the ocean, and then the salmon would come back to mate because they like go back to mate to like where they were born, and they would like harvest all the salmon, and it was incredibly metal. We went to visit, and by metal I mean there were metal baseball bats that they would use to like club these salmons over the head. It was extreme. So that's what I picture, like this eel farm, but even more metal because they are electrical.
They have.
Oh my god.
Do they club them with like magical spell clubs?
Like anti-electric clubs.
Yeah.
I cannot picture Ludo Bagman doing that. I'm sorry.
No.
Wasn't he a beater?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh my god, wait.
See,
You're right.
you definitely
100%.
could. Oh, he's definitely clubbing those
I just
eels.
felt like in that moment he was too silly to be doing that. But you're right. He does have a history of...
Maybe this was always just like a passion of his, you know, like even like back when he was a bludger, like he was just by the ocean one day and it was like, what's that? And like, it's like, wow, I'm pretty good at this, you know? And then it's like, it just kind of became his like side hustle. And then he like slowly was working his way to getting a whole eel farm and just, he never made it.
I picture like after Ludo Bagman like runs away in shame after he like can't pay his debts. I imagine like where is he now? And it's just says you can find me into club, and it's him like on the rocky coast with like an eel bashing club / beater bat.
This sounds like a very specific like Robot Chicken sketch that I could see like right there, like what happened to Ludo Bagman? Like, yeah, definitely.
Robot chicken freaks me out, but that is like a weirdly flattering compliment on a joke. I'm like, okay, so it's uncomfortable, but like pretty funny.
I think so.
So this chapter starts with they just took the port key 2 chapters ago. So like not the last chapter, the chapter before that. Brooke was on and was complaining. I was complaining about how like we have all these buildup chapters in the beginning, and Brooke made a very funny joke about how much like a flan, we are now perfectly set. Okay, it was really good. But I just want to point out that it is now like several chapters later and we are still setting. The flan has overset.
Overapproved.
I'm going to isolate that sound clip.
Oh, no.
Do it.
I'm going to make it my, like, alarm on my phone.
You're running
Nice.
late, Christina. You're overapproved.
So they've all arrived on a stretch of misty moor. I can just picture Liz Bennet, like, declining a marriage proposal on this misty moor.
Absolutely.
I think I've been camping in this place, you know, like not that place, but like I think I've definitely pitched a tent in some field, some misty field for some festival. Like
The festival vibes in this are so good. Like I really was like relating to this chapter a lot because Sean and I like have been to a lot of music festivals and it's the exact same energy and like it sounds so fun. Okay, but we'll get there.
yeah.
There are 2 wizards standing there to welcome them. They're dressed very poorly, in like Muggle incognito. They like should have just worn wizard outfits because it's like that person is wearing a strange outfit, but at least they like literally know what an outfit is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they direct the Weasleys and the Diggorys to their respective campsites, and they go to the campsite, and the campsite manager, Mr. Roberts,
This guy.
my man.
Yeah.
I respect the hell out of him. This man's a Ravenclaw. He's like, something's not right here. I swear to God.
Yeah. He's a very suspicious Muggle.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, as he should be. People
As
are
he
not
should
subtle
be.
here.
Yeah, he was like, I've done a lot of festivals in my day, but the magic seems too real at this one.
Mr. Roberts is like, I am super high right now, but this is still really weird.
So he asks for them to like pay, and Harry's like helping Arthur count out Muggle money.
I love this part. I love that part so much. I love Mr. Weasley just like being like, how do Muggle? Like, what do I do?
It's just like but you know how to like count, right? Like these have numbers
Yeah.
on them.
Right.
That's what I was saying. Even Harry was like, there's a 5 on there. Like,
I know.
you
It's like,
see-
oh, yeah.
Harry probably has never held Muggle money either, like not real money. Maybe like learning about it in school.
You
That's
don't
a
think
great
you don't
point.
think that like he just like I don't know. I mean, like you think the Dursleys gave him an allowance? Probably not.
No.
They probably
Hard
did.
no.
No.
Hard no.
Some pennies.
He's been saving like rogue coins from over the years, and now he has like 10 Muggle dollars.
Just like ones that he's found in the vacuum over the
Yeah.
years.
Mr. Roberts is like, all these people are like really weird. They seem to like know each other. It really is like someone's having a rave and like the property owner doesn't know, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I've seen so many asses today. Like this is not a family like reunion.
Yeah.
A wizard like apparates into the scene and he obliviates Mr. Roberts, clearing his memory. And he like complains that he needs 10 obliviation, like he needs his memory wiped 10 times a day to be happy, which first of all I would argue he's not happy, and second of all that's like hourly.
Yeah, and I feel like at some point that must cause some kind of damage.
Right?
Yeah.
To the
do
old brain.
people like get addicted to this? Is this like wizard drugs? Just like obliviating each other?
Ooh,
you know,
that's fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's fun.
I kind of see. I felt bad. Wait, so who is the? Because wasn't it the guy, the Muggle that was getting obliviated, right? It's
Yeah.
like because
Right.
everyone kept doing magic stuff, and he's like, wait a minute. He like forgets. He's like, wait a minute, and it keeps coming back. It honestly, it was so funny. My sister was watching Men in Black last night, and that's what this reminded me of. It's like they
yeah.
just keep like flashing him with the memory eraser, but it's a spell. But I was like, this poor guy.
Ah.
Have either of y'all watched Doctor Who?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, I'm
so
going to
sorry.
tell this story anyway for the listeners.
yes,
it's
please.
it's like brief, but I think I've even mentioned this before because it's kind of stuck with me. But like I think the scariest creatures that they come across in Doctor Who, they're called the Silents, and they're these creatures that I don't remember. They're bad for some reason. Murdery. They're going to murder you. It's bad. I don't really remember. But every time you, like, when you're looking at them, cool, there they are. But as soon as you turn away, you completely forget that they exist. And so they're always trying, like, all these things to, like, desperately remember, like, that they've seen one of these creatures. So they start by, like, every time they see one, they do, like, a tally mark on themselves. Mm-hmm. And so they'll, like, in the way the show does it, they'll, like, walk into this room and be like, oh, cool, okay, clear. And then they'll, like, look down and there's, like, 15 tally marks on their hand. And they're like, oh, my Jesus Christ. They're somewhere around me.
That's
and then they'll,
even
like, look
scarier, though.
Yeah.
That you have
it's so much
evidence of
scarier.
it.
Yes, and then they, like, look, and then they're like, oh, shit, it's right there. I'm going to go tell. And then they're like, oh, nothing's wrong. And then it, like, becomes such an issue that they, like, upgrade and they put little, I don't know, like alien future magic, they put little, like, voice recorders in their hands. So every time they see one, they, like, record while they're watching it. So it gets scarier. They'll, like, see that the light in their hand is beeping and they'll play back a message of themselves that they don't remember, that it's just like, they're everywhere.
Oh my God,
they're
just
all
like
around
heavy
us.
breathing.
There's no way out. And they're like, what the fuck? Oh my gosh. So anyway, that's the kind of day Mr. Roberts is having.
He is not okay.
No.
He needs a notebook to write things down.
Yeah, you might. Then it becomes like a Christopher Nolan film. Like after that weekend, he's like, "What does it mean?"
Yes.
I knew this meant something. Yeah.
So they go into the campsite, and it really is like festival season. You see all your friends, and like no one has to wear work clothes, and like you're just like asses out, dicks out, tits out, beers out. I haven't been to a festival since before COVID and I miss it, obviously. So most of the campers have tried to emulate like Muggle tents and campsites, and like some of them have failed. Some haven't even tried. Quote, an extravagant confection of striped silk like a miniature palace with several live peacocks tethered at the entrance. Literally, is that the Malfoys?
I mean, I think it must be.
Who else would have peacocks?
Exactly. That was the
Live
thing.
peacocks.
Yeah,
It's better than a dead peacock.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's like that's what you expect. But,
exactly.
I guess the alternative would be like a stone peacock, like the lion columns that like flank the New York Library.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, do those exist? Now I want that. A stone peacock? That's so cool.
It's definitely a power move.
Yes.
In the middle of my condo, I'm getting a stone peacock.
But the trick is to like have stone peacocks on the outside and then live peacocks on the inside. So they've already seen the stone ones. They're not expecting like more peacocks inside, and it's like it escalates.
You guys, live peacocks are pretty scary. Like, have you guys ever like been around live peacocks?
Wait, yes, and why was I talking about this like yesterday?
I don't know.
I was talking to somebody about peacocks because whoever it was like, all zoos do that, because if a zoo has a peacock, the peacocks just go wild. Yeah, they're terrifying.
Well, here's the thing. It's like I've seen peacocks before, but not at a zoo. I went camping once with my best friend and his dad when I was a kid living in Florida. And we just like went to this campsite, and you woke up and there was just a bunch of peacocks.
No.
Mikey,
And they just wandered around.
I'm not unconvinced that you've actually been to the Quidditch World Cup. I think that you were there.
Wait, but were they
Are you Mr. Roberts? Oh my God.
What are you writing down in that notebook there? Your memento notebook.
Yeah, right. When you guys hit me with the spell after the podcast.
Okay, so they reach their camp spot. The magic is technically not allowed on the Muggle campsite, which, like, I mean, you can do magic subtly, I think, and make your life a lot easier. But Arthur is very excited to put up the tents manually.
Oh, that was in my notes. I literally put that in my notes. I have 3 notes, and they're all very short, and that was one of them, page 78. Mr. Weasley being overexcited using a mallet. I just love that so much.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I love him.
He's so adorable. He's just like, because like he's got such a big heart, but he's like he's so stupid sometimes.
He's a man of simple pleasures.
Yeah, for sure.
He's easily entertained.
Yeah.
He's so earnest and so endearing. I'm just like, how could you ever like be mad at this dude?
For
Yeah.
sure. Well, Molly Weasley makes
Molly
it happen.
Weasley is an exception because
Yeah.
Being married to someone so incredibly mild does
Right.
have its drawbacks, especially, I'm sure, when you're trying to raise 7 children. And that's a list of
God.
reasons Sean and I can't have kids. He's too mild. I can't do all of the disciplining.
Yeah.
I just
a
think
lot.
it's funny because if you're going to start, like, Arthur Weasley has never done anything without magic in his life. And, like, you don't start with assembling tents. That is like starting a video game on expert level. Why don't you just try it out first? Do something a little easier. Maybe make yourself a pot of coffee. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, maybe try
honestly,
to boil some water.
I was gonna say, I think
Yeah.
pot of coffee is a medium level,
Yeah.
intermediate. There's a lot of components.
Yeah, definitely not building a whole tent. Well, 2 tents, right?
2 tents. Yeah, there was 2 tents.
Muggles who have I'm a muggle. I've assembled a lot of tents in my life, and every single one is a fucking pain in the
I don't
ass.
enjoy it. My last memory of like going to a festival and it's like we got there like late and it was already dark and like had to put the tents up like in the dark. I'm like, not fun, not great.
Man, that Sean and I have a pop-up tent now for that reason. We take our 8-person pop-up tent to every festival. But the first time we had that tent, we like didn't really know how it was. It was also my first festival ever. And we went there right after work and we got there when it was pitch black. And I super don't have night vision. I know that humans generally don't have night vision, but me in particular. And it had rained so much that, like, the whole thing was just like a muddy swampland. And we were trying to, like, find a spot to pitch our tent in the darkness. And I, like, could barely even walk in the mud. And, like, my Uggs were, like, slipping and sliding everywhere. And I was having an actual meltdown.
Yeah.
And, like, I was sobbing hysterically. Sean just, like, found the first patch of grass and was like, we're camping here. Okay, we're camping here. And the people next to us, it was, like, 3 dudes camping in a tent. And they were, like, they had been there for hours. They were incredibly shit-faced. And when they saw me crying, they, like, all ran over. And they were like, oh, my God, are you okay? Come here. And they walked me over to their fire. And they sat me down in their chair. And they handed me, like, a hot dog and a beer. And they were like, we got this. None of them had shirts on. They were all, like, screaming. But they were like, we got this. And they just put our tent together for us.
Wow.
That is beautiful.
See, that's what I miss about festivals. Is just that neighborly, like, just people helping people, which is like you just don't see that often in just like society, you know, with when there's sidewalks and houses. I don't know.
Yeah.
This whole thing, you know, like when you get away from that and there's just like people expressing themselves and being
literally
people.
so nice.
That's so great. Yeah.
It's like a place where you can just like trust everyone, kind of.
Now I want to go to a festival. I'm sad. There was some yoga festival that my friends went to here, and I'm like, I want to go to a yoga festival and like teach a comedy class, and then it's like now you're like the funny guy at this like when it's like yoga teachers and like, you know, breath work and stuff. I love it. Yeah.
That's juxtaposition.
Hey, and that's comedy, baby.
It's true. It's true. Arthur like looks to Harry and Hermione for guidance with this tent, but like Harry's
There's
never
no
been
help.
camping before. Hermione probably just logics that shit, you know? She's like, okay. She might have been camping before, actually. Her parents
Yeah.
could be outdoors people. I never went camping as a kid, but some people's parents go camping, I'm sure.
I was a Boy Scout, but you know, like I was the worst one, whereas like I didn't want to learn anything or like tie knots. I just wanted to like build swords out of like the tree bark or whatever and like, you know, like have a fight in the wood and like go
What else
exploring.
is there to do in the woods other than
I
make
don't
swords
know.
with branches?
I guess like
and beat each other?
surviving, but like that wasn't my goal. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not going to survive in the woods by myself. That sounds awful.
Yeah,
Wow.
it does.
I was in Girl Scouts and the tone was just like a little different. I remember one time there was like a thunderstorm warning and they like woke us all up in a panic in the middle of the night to like race us home to escape the thunderstorm. My friend Anna was so upset that she barfed in the car.
Oh my God. She
Yeah, it
was
was a
so
different
upset
vibe.
that she threw up.
They really were like panicking about the thunderstorm. Like they were like, leave everything, abandon everything.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
surely not
wild.
that big of a deal, but they were like super
that's
alarmed.
So extreme. Who gets that worked up about? Like, it's just rain and thunder.
Because they were not
So you guys were presumably like outside, and so
Yes.
they were freaking out.
We were outside and they were freaking out.
That's crazy.
See, I remember going on like a long like backpacking. It was probably my first like backpacking hike as a child. And it was in Orlando. I think it was like Wekiva Springs or something. And we went really out there. And it's like we made the tents like at night, and at night like these raging thunderstorms like came in. I was like, I just remember being in the tent with like my friend and like his dad, and it was like the wind was blowing and like was using my sleeping bag to like absorb the water at the bottom of the tent, and it was like it was so scary, but at the same time as a kid I thought it was so exciting. I was like, this is so cool. Like his dad's actually concerned for his safety and is like going outside and like doing dad things to keep us safe, and I'm like, God, good thing he's here, man. Like I don't know what to do right now, but I'm gonna stay in the tent,
I'm pretty sure my dad has never like done dad things to keep me safe. Like that's not really his vibe,
Right? Yeah. No, it was a rare thing for me to see, to witness, but I'm glad it happened. It was a really cool experience.
When I was 16, I took my boyfriend at the time camping at this like park near our house for his birthday so that we could have sex without anyone's parents being mad.
Nice.
But it was like raining. It started thunderstorming at like 10 o'clock at night. And like the tent was flooding. Everything was flooded. It was like so wet, but like we were not leaving. This was like the only $25 I'd ever had to like rent this campsite. And like we were never going to get a chance to be alone ever again.
Wow.
This is it.
This is the same guy for whom I went into the woods and got chiggers all down my backside because we had sex in the woods.
Okay, I wasn't sure if this was the same story or a different one. Okay.
Different story. Yes, different woods.
Rendezvous.
Yeah.
Man,
okay.
you guys were having sex at 16. That's so cool, man. That's all I wanted to do when I was 16 was have sex, and like I didn't lose my virginity till I was 19. Till I had graduated high school.
That is not that bad.
I know,
but not that bad.
But still, here's the thing. Even now, as like 30-year-old me, I wish 16-year-old me could like have the sex that I have, because like I don't care anymore. I'm 30. Like I don't care anymore. I'm like I want to.
See. You wanted to like have more chance to appreciate it before you got cheated.
Right, because it was
that.
so exciting then too. It was like the only thing I wanted, and just like it was not happening. It was not going to happen. I had no chance.
I read all these like YA novels where people are so excited to just like touch each other, and I'm like, oh my god, wow, I remember that, but I don't think there's any going back.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh dear. How did we get here? You know how we got here is they finish erecting the tent. Are my exact
How dare
notes.
you say erect at this
Nice.
time?
Very nice. Very nice transition.
And they finish the tents and they go inside, and it's bigger on the inside. It's another Doctor Who joke for you.
I love that though. I love like it's one of my favorite things of like the Harry Potter universe is just like and also like what was it, Hermione's like bag, like infinite bag of stuff. I just love that there's like this thing that looks small on the outside. You walk in, it's like it's a 3-bedroom, like, and then I'm pretty sure Mr. Weasley walks in. It's like, well, it's not the biggest one, but we'll make do. And Harry's just like, what the fuck? like this is insane.
That's the thing with Harry. It doesn't matter if it's like big or small. It's just like the novelty of this kind of magic is all he needs to be like stoked about this. Honestly, they could probably sleep in the open grass and he'd be stoked just to be here. He hasn't done a lot of fun stuff in his life.
No.
So they need water for the kettle. It is like probably like 7 a.m. right now. Like it's really
it's
early.
Pretty early. Because people are like waking up. When they first get there, like no one's even up yet. People are still sleeping.
And like if I'm thinking about like usually when I go camping, it's like a wake up with the sun thing. It's usually like 6:30 or 7, just organically.
Yeah, like an eel farmer or something.
Right, exactly. So Ron and Harry and Hermione set out to find like the spigot that is marked on their campsite map. So they get to stroll through. At the festivals I go to, I call this a preliminary walkabout, just to see what's up, where stuff is, see if you see any familiar faces. Don't even like worry about setting up camp yet. Like just go. We'll do this later. We have all day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people are starting to wake up. Harry's never seen wizard children before. And the book doesn't say this, but I feel like he's probably a little, like, sadly nostalgic. Like, what's the opposite of nostalgic? Like, I wish I had that, you know?
Like, jealous? I mean, it's like, it's not jealous,
Wait,
but it
yeah,
kind of
jealous.
is.
Like a little envious, maybe.
Envious. I think that's the word. He's like, right, yeah, he sees these kids and it's like, because he could have had that. He easily could have had that with his parents.
Yeah.
They would have brought him to the Quidditch festival and let him get a little too crazy on a mini broom while like the other wizards are like, tame your kids. Like, I love that. It's like, these are bad parents. Like they're all like judging each other or whatever. Oh my god.
This just like flashed me back to when I was a kid and like me, like all the adult couples in my family were like not divorced yet. They're all divorced now. But you know, like when you're a kid and like I would go to the Outer Banks with my whole family and like somehow we would fit like 8 children and like 6 aunts and uncles and like grandma. We'd all fit in the same house. And every night, I know this now, and at the time I just didn't even clock it. But every night, all the grown-ups would get shit-faced drunk, and we would just like run wild on the beach. And I just picture that for like James and Lily and like the Marauders just like getting drunk as shit. And they're like, oh fuck, we have a baby. We're 22. And Harry's just like, yeah, going buck wild on a toy broom. It's a lovely little image.
I love that.
Oh, poor Harry.
Makes me
But
sad.
it never
But
was.
it was never meant to be.
There's that baby who's prodding the slug with
Kevin.
wand. Kevin? Is
I
his
like
name
that
Kevin?
a lot. I liked that
Yeah,
a
his
lot.
name is Kevin.
Oh my god, that makes me so happy. For some reason that his name is Kevin.
The little baby with the... He has a name?
Yeah, his name is Kevin.
I don't know why I didn't retain that either.
I just thought it was so random and funny.
I have to look this out. I have to see it with my own eyes. Little Kevin? No.
Yeah. Yep.
gosh.
This is just a reminder to me, and I know we've talked about it before with like the Weasleys having 7 kids, but just like how much of a nightmare it would be to be a parent of wizards, because like they're just crazy, dude. They're just like stealing your wand and like doing a bunch of shenanigans.
It's true, and honestly, not to always make everything about my kittens, but it's similar, I think, because with the kittens, it's like, how did you jump so far? Like, how do you have this much energy? Like, this is bananas. Like, this is unfathomable to me. And I feel like it would be the same thing with a kid, just like, whoa, you're like defying gravity, like the laws of physics, like, get it together. This is really wild right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Slugs. You bust slug.
I just reread a part that like I think I like didn't register when I was reading it
What?
earlier. I just felt like all the wizards are waking up, and I love this that while a group of middle-aged American witches sat gossiping happily beneath a spangled banner stretched between their tents that read the Salem Witches Institute. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that so much.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then like, hey, Harry cut snatches of conversation in strange languages from the inside of tents they pass. It's so funny. It's such a festival. There's
I
just
know.
so many people and he's so excited. Like, I don't know. That's one thing I came back to is like the moment, like Harry has this moment where he's like, I never thought that there were wizards outside of Hogwarts. And it really dawns on him. But I don't know. I love the international aspect of the Goblet of Fire, right? Like, who
Yeah.
doesn't want like the Wizard Olympics, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
There's probably like a lot to look at, even more so than at like a Muggle music festival.
Right, and there's already so much there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and they like get to the Ireland camping section, which is all decked out in green. They next find the Bulgaria section where Victor Crumb's posters everywhere. They run into Seamus and Dean, obviously in the Ireland section. His name's Seamus. He's in the Ireland section.
Yeah.
I always like read the chapter and listen to it also. Mm-hmm. And when I listen to it, I just listen to like random videos on YouTube of people reading it. And I discovered one today, a reader who was just like a regular person, by like they didn't appear to be like an actor on a stage, but like they did different voices for every single character in this chapter, including different accents, and they were like very well done accents. So I'm gonna link that in the show notes because it was honestly a incredible performance. It was this person and like supposedly their partner, and the partner was just sitting there for 50 minutes of reading, just like listening pleasantly while their partner just like really committed to this elaborate, like they were doing like so many voices. Anyway, it's linked in the show notes. It's really incredible.
Yeah, sounds like a one-man show. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was serious. They finally get to the water tap. They're waiting in line. Cue Archie and his nightgown. I love that, man.
Yep.
Honestly, more power to him because he's refusing to put on. The point of wearing muggle clothes is to not be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
But like the nightgown is a little conspicuous for any person to be wearing like during the day in public, just like a nightgown. It is conspicuous.
It sounds cute though.
It does sound cute and probably really comfy.
Yeah.
And airy, I guess.
Mm-hmm. In all the right places.
Nice.
That's why I want to buy Sean like a kilt, I think, which is it's just a skirt. I think it's would probably be so liberating for people who just wear pants every day to just throw on a skirt and see what happens. Just see what happens.
Yeah.
See, this is the kind of stuff that we lose in the movies. Hermione dissolves into a fit of giggles, specifically Hermione.
I love
like,
that phrase.
Ron and Harry are okay, but like Hermione loses her shit. I don't know why.
She's probably like, I have that robe. I mean, nightgown. I was on the robe thing still.
It's some inside joke she has with herself that nobody else would get, and she's just like, "This is so funny."
Only children things. Yeah. Inside joke with myself.
Yeah.
They get the water. They walk back to camp. After all this, Harry finally, I think it's been like an hour and a half. Harry finally is like, wow, there's other schools out there.
Way to go, Harry.
He has that kind of introspective moment. But
he's not a Ravenclaw.
Which, like, how has he not had that yet? But whatever.
I don't know. I get it, though. It's like, if it's like your first time going to a festival, like, there's so much happening externally that you don't, it's like not until you like walk back to your tent for the first time and are sitting there and like lying back, you're like, huh. How do I feel? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but
the reflection.
Right. Yeah. You can't really reflect when you're like meeting all these crazy people and like doing tasks. Like you're so focused on just like what's happening. So I don't know.
It's true. The one festival that Sean and I have been to the most we camp like half a mile away from the event site, and it's like straight up a mountain the entire half mile. Yeah, and it's like, it's a good little reflection time because you're just going straight up. I feel so powerful after like 3 days of just walking up a mountain.
Oh my gosh. I would like, if I went to that festival and camped where you guys camped, like after day one, I'd be like, I guess I'm going, I'm buying, it's enough exercise for me. They
do have like a bus, which is fun, but I prefer to walk.
Okay. Hey.
You get to see everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's all lit. But it's like in the dark, so it's like a Midsummer Night's Dream, just like all these fairies in the dark.
Oh, you can't do your walkabout from a bus.
It's exactly, but maybe they'll play
do a little
walkabout
wave,
on
though.
the bus.
You can do a little wave at everybody.
Hey guys.
Hey everyone, you guys look great. Have a great time.
So back at the campsite, they got off the bus. Arthur has been really enthusiastically failing to light his fire with matches. So do you even really light the matches?
And then the one he lights, he like is surprised that he lit it, and he like it goes out or whatever.
Don't tell me you've never done that.
I have certainly done that. I've definitely done that.
Sometimes it's scary.
That's why I love that part, because I'm like, wow, that's relatable.
That's the most Muggle shit.
Yeah.
Finally, Hermione is like, let me show you how to do a match. And then while the fire gets hot, they just kind of sit and watch people go past. I also relate to this. Honestly, this is like a festival vibe, or like even kind of an anywhere vibe, like the people watching. Mm-hmm. And Arthur is keeping like a running commentary of the ministry and other important people who pass them by. They start cooking breakfast. Charlie, Bill, and Percy arrive. I want to know, what were they talking about this whole time before they got here? Like, what they had to walk from somewhere, the apparating, like, what did the three of them talk about?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Seriously don't know.
That's so interesting. Yeah, it's like we should like cut back and see. That'd be like if this was a Game of Thrones book. It would just cut back to this long conversation about nothing, you know?
I feel like Bill and Charlie probably talked a lot, and then Percy had weird, awkward interjections.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also feel like Bill and Charlie are really nice. They're both really nice. And so I feel like they probably are like trying to ask him questions.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
like,
right.
That's true.
He's just like not really.
They were probably trying to engage him.
What's Percy's deal? Is he just like really anxious, or does he
What's
have
his
like
deal?
does he have like a social like disorder or something? I don't know.
I think that he really is just like kind of a classic. He's like an Amy Santiago from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We did that bonus episode recently. It's just like a Hermione, but like a Hermione whose fatal flaw is that they're like too Hermione. You know what I mean? It's like you're so like perfectionistic and studious that it's like it's the
He's
worst
so
thing
annoying.
about you.
He's insufferable.
Yeah.
Which is why I love when he gets roasted by Barty Crouch.
He really has no business being like a Gryffindor. Like, that is a fucking Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right.
For sure.
In my opinion. It's just the Weasley.
Yeah,
How it was like,
he
I
just
can't.
overthinks. He's just an overthinker. He's not even that like brave, really. I mean, he's just kind of
He
doing
does
his
one
job.
brave thing ever, and it's like saying sorry for a mistake and coming back, you know?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Which is like it's brave, but like you had to fuck up a lot to get there.
Yeah, 100%.
So Ludo Bagman shows up. Ludo, he's wearing his old Quidditch robes, which look like a bee, right? Mm-hmm. And he is boyishly handsome. I have always had a hard time envisioning this character in my head. Maybe because they took him out of the movies. I don't have like that to fall back on.
He wasn't
but, like,
in the
right.
movies, yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
I have
a
like
shame. That's a shame.
It is
But
a
maybe,
shame.
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe like the casting director looked at that and was like, fuck this. Like, what is that? What does this mean? What does this person look like?
I mean, I understand his plot line, like his existence actually doesn't matter to the plot line. He serves as like a red herring pretty much, and there's just not really time for that in the films. But I wonder if like who maybe y'all would cast in the movie to play Ludo Bagman.
I don't know. I don't even know.
Oh, no.
He's like older but boyish. Like, I don't know what that means.
What about the dad from Modern Family? What's that guy's name?
His name in Modern Family is Phil.
Right?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
Like
that's actually
doofy,
like
a
probably
little full of himself, but like
Yes.
not even remotely threatening.
I could see that. No, I
Yeah.
could see that.
I definitely can't think of a better one.
I'm
No,
trying to
yeah,
think
me
like
either.
who's just like really, really like undisarming. Like, so, you know what I mean? He's just like
Yeah.
so genial.
Just like not a care in the world.
Yeah,
Actually,
doesn't have to be a British person.
he would have been way too old at the time, but I maybe
It
like
doesn't matter.
honestly like Gene Wilder as like a cameo in this
Oh,
role.
that's
to just be
fun.
like really like eccentric. I don't know.
Reddit says, I think this is a great point. Reddit says that if Kenneth Branagh had not already portrayed Lockhart, he probably would have made a good Ludo Bagman. I think that what they're saying is that he's really good at putting on airs and like blowing hot air.
Yeah.
Airs and air.
Yeah, I like that.
Owen Wilson.
Wow. I mean, I didn't mean to say wow like that, but
Wow.
Two people separately said Owen Wilson. We also got not American. We got American man Paul Rudd.
Maybe, yeah, I mean he is 50 and does look very young. Like in fairness.
Yeah. Also, Jeff Bridges is like the last recommendation on this Reddit thread.
I could see that.
interesting.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think those are good options. I like Owen Wilson for the part myself.
I do too. Tell us who you would cast as Ludo Bagman. Shoot us an email at restrictedsectionpod@gmail.com or hit us up on our socials because we would love to know. Or I'm sure we will talk about this in our Discord server. As a reminder, you can join our Discord server for supporting us on Patreon for $1 a month. I need to like learn to say it quicklier, so it's like like the small print on a medicine ad or whatever.
Just like tiny.
Yeah.
Ludo Bagman is, quote, plainly in a state of wild excitement. Wow, hard same. Like, I can, like, feel that.
It really resonates with you, doesn't it?
Actually, okay, well, hey, just, like, I almost called you Haley, but that's because my brain was short-circuiting trying to find the beginning of the sentence I'm trying to say next. Grace, tell me if I'm wrong, if you don't feel this way. But as I was reading this, and like all of the ministry employees who are like complaining to each other, they're all running at 100 miles per hour and like they're all really stressed. This reminds me of the RVA Book Lovers Festival that we throw together.
Yep.
And like plainly in a state of wild excitement.
A book festival?
We do, Michael. That was before your time. We do host an annual book festival through RVA Book Lovers.
Who comes to that?
A lot
What's
of
the
authors.
audience
It's like all the book lovers.
Just all the book lovers.
I'm gonna come shill my book at it.
Or like, or even like,
can I sponsor it? Can I get a booth?
you
All
can get
of
a
that.
Boothby booth.
A booth. I would do it.
Yeah, but it is similar vibes to that, Christina. Just like complete chaos and like.
That's the
but we're
thing
all
is
so
like,
excited.
yeah, they're like servers who are like super weeded at the dinner hour, but there's that one person who like is always crushing it, always gets great tips, like never drops anything, never forgets anything, and they're having a great time. And everyone else is like, hey, fuck you. They just sat me 3 6-stops in a row.
Flashbacks.
Yeah. I write these notes like ahead of time and then I make myself laugh later. I wrote I go limitless when I'm hosting too. Have you guys seen Limitless?
No.
Oh my God.
Wow, failing you left and right.
It's Bradley Cooper.
Oh wait, no, I have seen that. Yeah.
It's
that's a good movie.
basically about cocaine. It's like a made up drug, but it's
I
definitely
thought it was about Adderall. I thought it was about Adderall.
it's a made up drug, but it is just straight up cocaine because you take it and you're like, oh, I'm perfect now. I can do everything. I got everything. It's like you see things in slow motion and in like 4 dimensions. So I get it. That's how I go when I'm hosting too. I'm like, my anxiety is so high that my brain is so crisp and clear right now.
That's how it goes.
Ludo Bagman asks Arthur to bet on the game, and he bets a galleon. Mm-hmm.
How much is a galleon? Is that like, what is that? Like
$10 or
$1?
$20?
Oh my gosh.
It's more.
In season 1, Andrew had like a whole conversion chart or something.
Oh my God. Let me see if I can find that audio clip.
Yes, look for that.
No, I'm not looking for that.
Thank you, Andrew, probably.
I think it is like at least
$20.
$10.
Okay, $10-$20, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The twins offer to bet 37 galleons and some change and a fake wand.
The fake wand.
The prank wand.
I love the prank wand so much.
Yeah.
That's everything that they have.
Yeah.
It is.
They did a true YOLO on this rare outcome of this game. This whole part just turns into sports betting. It literally just turns into an ad for like DraftKings or whatever.
They're trying ostensibly to get like startup money for their business.
Yeah, I respect the hell out of it, man.
I do too. It's risky, but like they probably don't have any other options, especially with their mother acting the way she's been acting, which I don't approve of.
Yeah, they're like, we're all in, but not a great dude to go all in with. To be
Right.
fair.
Yeah, I think they just trust him because he's a ministry official, and Arthur Weasley has brought a lot of trustworthy ministry officials into their life before, and
Yeah.
but Ludo's just not that way.
And technically, Ludo did come through with the tickets
Right,
to the
exactly.
World Cup. So, like,
That's
know,
a
Right,
good point.
historically.
and they're box tickets too. These aren't
Yeah.
like in the crowd. This is up in the box.
Right.
He's announcing the whole event, right?
It's
This is VIP,
Andrew hypothesized last episode that Cornelius Fudge made sure that, or even Bagman, just like the ministry, like ensured that Arthur Weasley invited Harry to this game as like a brag because the other countries, like ministry officials, are also sitting in the box. So it's like a brag, you know, like we got Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Right. It's like good PR for the ministry.
Yeah. So the twins bet that Ireland will win the game, but Crumb will get the snitch. Just like pretend you don't know what happens next. Why would anyone make this bet?
Because the odds were like, that's what, like, as soon as they made that, like, Bagman was like, oh, those are crazy odds. So like they would probably, like, if they won, would get like 1,000 to 1 odds or something. So like just like crazy money. But
That's true.
There's a lot of betting going on, and I feel like this is maybe it's a pretty unique bet. You know?
Yeah.
It is, yeah. There's not many people taking that bet, but here's the thing, and this is the scene that I want to see, is the scene of, like, Fred and George twinning out, one night, just, like, doing their investment research. They're like, well, here's the stats on the players, and from this and that, here's the score. Like, I feel like they did their homework, you know? They stayed up pretty late, probably. Like, they're comedians, they're jokers, they're pretty smart guys. And,
one of them's the math guy, and one of them's, like, the ideas guy.
right. So, yeah, the idea guy was like, what if this? And the math guy was like, let me crunch the numbers. And they're like, let's do it.
Fred is the ideas guy and George is the numbers guy. I believe that because typically, if you like look closely, Fred is usually a slightly more of a loose cannon and George is usually slightly more level-headed and like modest is like a weird word to say for the twins, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know. I resonate with the twins, being a twin myself, you know?
Oh yeah, oh my god.
They're my favorite characters.
Grace is a twin too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, I think we had
I
this
think we have
conversation
talked
before.
about
We
this
probably
before.
have.
This is pretty cool.
I hope we keep forgetting, and every time we happen, we go, really?
Yes, it's fun every time.
So good, yeah.
Grace, you have like a dude twin and you have a gal twin, right?
I do,
Michael?
yeah. The opposite
So it's like
sides of a fraternal twinship.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's easy for people to forget that you guys have twins because there's not another person in the world who looks exactly like you.
That's
Right.
true.
Although you look a lot like your sister, Tabitha.
Yeah,
Grace.
whenever people hear that there are like twins in the family, they assume that I'm twins with my older sister, but joke's on you.
Poor William.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, my friends get really upset when they find out my twin sister also doesn't have a mustache.
Damn it.
They're like, I
Yeah.
thought you guys were twins. You know, what's this going on? I've had to have that conversation so many times over the years. Like, we're fraternal.
Oh,
People
yeah.
don't know what that means. People don't know.
I still remember one of my sixth grade teachers asked if we were identical, and like she knew that we were like male and female or whatever. So I was like, you're an educator. Feels like you should not be asking me that question right now.
You should know this. You should know this question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't say to your teacher, yikes, you're an educator, you should know this.
Yeah, and and I did anyway. No, I'm kidding. I didn't.
I wish. That'd be so badass.
A Ravenclaw would never.
No.
I corrected a teacher once, and it was because I was in college, and he was straight up wrong in my area of expertise, and I, like, really trusted him. I had a big old brain crush on this professor, you know, like, when it's like, you're not that cute, but, like, you're so smart, and your interests delight me. Mm-hmm. And he took it so nicely. He was like, thank you so much for correcting me. Oh, my God, I would love to read more. Please send me a link.
Oh my God, that's the perfect reaction.
I
know.
I love the supportive teacher.
Yeah.
Love that.
So the opposite of support is Arthur Weasley asks Ludo Bagman if he's heard about Bertha Jorkins, who is missing. Ludo Bagman says he has heard, quote, not a dicky bird.
Weird phrase. Honestly, pretty weird phrase.
It's British. It's like British dad talk. It's just
I
like your
guess so.
grandpa said this and it's weird now.
As an American, hate it.
Hate it.
Yeah, not a fan.
Not a fan.
Ludo Bagman firmly believes that Bertha Jorkins is stupid and got lost of her own stupidity and will find her way home safe and confused eventually, and that it's not really his problem.
Who is this again? Who is this lady?
Bertha Jorkins is a character who never has any screen time, so to speak, in the books.
That's a great name.
Bertha Jorkins, yeah, she's my bitch. So she gets kidnapped. She goes on vacation and gets kidnapped by Voldemort, and she is the source of information that leads him to develop his entire plan to come back for power.
What?
To come back to power. Yeah, so it's like they should have looked for her sooner because then maybe they would have been able to get ahead of this in some way. But they don't.
I love how the Ministry of Magic, like any government agency, at the end of the day is just so incompetent.
Yeah.
It's just like like so
Absolutely.
much bureaucracy that like nothing gets done.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think you can see that really exemplified in this chapter, particularly with the difference between Barty Crouch and Ludo Bagman. And it's like, obviously, these two men are going to have a hard time working together. Barty Crouch Sr. shows up. He's stiff, upright, uptight, dressed in a crisp
he
suit
speaks
and tie.
250 languages.
That is, two is really hard. 2 languages is really hard.
Right? Yeah. This guy's like brilliant.
Yeah. Our American is showing, but also
Yeah.
I don't think that most people speak 250. I think maybe like 3 is a good number to aspire to.
I know someone who speaks 7.
Ooh.
That's pretty strong.
I mean,
That is
yeah,
strong.
yeah.
Percy offers Barty Crouch a cup of tea. Crouch calls him Weatherby, which is an ongoing joke, and also I think like a crucial plot point later.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Weatherby. And then
Yeah.
Fred and George are just like, like, time to troll.
It's like heartbreaking and satisfying at the same time.
Right. Yes. Exactly. There's some discourse about flying carpets.
Oh,
some world building.
That was in my notes. That was my last note. I put
Your last of 3 notes.
My last of my 3 notes was ban on flying carpets.
Right. Yes.
Because I was like, wait, what? What is this like?
That's such
Even
BS,
Harry was like, wait a minute, what? Yeah.
It's
It
such
was
BS.
BS.
Because what does Arthur say? He says something about how they're like Muggle artifacts, like carpets are Muggle artifacts. But it's like, what the fuck is a broom, my man?
Maybe the wizardry. I'm always like, wait, make it gender neutral, but it's like, it's impossible. Maybe the magical community invented brooms back in the day.
Okay, I see. So it started with them.
That would be ridiculous if it was invented for like magical purposes before like house cleaning purposes.
And then Muggles were like, wait a second.
Why didn't I ever think of tying some tiny sticks on a bigger stick?
Wait, did they talk about why they banned the carpets? I forget
I think it's
why
just
they were
racism.
justifying it. Is it?
Ooh,
Or was
it
it
might
because
be
they were like,
racism.
or was too many Muggles, or like it became too cliche? People were like, no, guys, like, no more carpets. Like, it's too obvious.
Carpets have saturated the market.
I think there's a couple of reasons that you would ban magic carpets. First of all, safety. Is there seatbelts on these, or are your babies just rolling off the sides?
I guess, but I'm trying to figure out, like, how is it different than a broom? Like, how is it any less safe?
I have to find the dialogue. I have to see
It's
what
a
they're
good
saying.
point, but I guess maybe like one person rides a broom kind of like a motorcycle.
Right. Where you could put, like, a family on a carpet.
Yeah, and the baby just rolls off. It could be
wait.
a misuse of Muggle artifacts argument.
I do love the dialogue here. I do love this. Because and
Read
I've been wanting a word with you too, Arthur, said Mr. Crouch, his sharp eyes falling upon Mr. Weasley. Ali Bashir is on the warpath. He wants a word with you about your embargo on flying carpets. Mr. Weasley heaved a deep sigh. He's like, this fucking thing again.
I'm not working
I
right now.
love this so much. I sent him an owl about that last week. He's like, I sent the email. If I told him once, I've told him 100 times. Carpets are defined as a Muggle artifact by the Registry of Prescribed Charmable Objects. But will he listen? I doubt it, said Mr. Crouch, accepting a cup from Percy. He's desperate to export here. He's like, this guy's trying to make some money selling these carpets to the good wizards of Great Britain, you know?
It's funny that Ludo Bagman and Barty Crouch are in such like foils. They're in such juxtaposition to each other, but like obviously Arthur Weasley is like the happy medium between the two, where he gets his job done. He takes it seriously. He's like worried about it, but he also is like very genial and mild and like doesn't want to bother anybody.
Yeah.
So, Ludo Bagman refers to some big secret thing at Hogwarts. We've heard this before. What's the big secret thing? I don't know.
Is it the Goblet of Fire? Well, like, by
The
association.
Goblet of Fire!
Yes. The Triwizard Tournament.
So Barty Crouch insists that they need to go speak with the Bulgarians, and he makes Bagman leave with him. The afternoon wears on. People are getting excited for the headliner. I mean,
The main event.
The main event. Salespeople are popping up all around to sell merch. I love it
this.
so much.
The merch tents pop up. Yeah.
Yes. Harry buys some cool, fancy, what are they?
Oh, it's essentially
Omnioculars?
It's like glasses that like just give you a smartphone app overview of the game. You know, it gives you like all the lets you know who the players are and all. It's like watching the broadcast TV version at the game.
Whoa,
you know?
cool.
Yeah,
yeah, they are very cool.
Which I love, by the way, and I love because like they were expensive, right? Weren't they like 10 galleons or something? Or was it not galleons? Was it galleons?
No, it was. Yeah,
Harry.
Yeah, and Harry's
money.
like, guys, I'm balling. Like, he's like, my parents are dead, guys. It's on me. Like, you're my friends. Like, I did nothing for this money. And I love Ron's like, oh, I couldn't. But then Harry's like, don't worry. I'm just not buying you a Christmas gift for the next 8 years. And Ron's like, LOL, okay, bro. Like, they're so cool about it. Yeah.
It's wild that Harry's in a position to drop, just on a whim, the same amount of money that Fred and George just bet, which must be their life savings combined.
Right.
Yes.
And Harry, like, money is not an issue for Harry. Harry's got a trust fund.
This chapter uses the phrase "small fortune." It was like Ron has always been mad that Harry inherited a small fortune and he was stupid rich. But, you know, that's Ron.
Right.
That's
yeah, it's Ron being insecure, right? Which is fair. But like Harry never really like. He's not showy with his money at all. He really uses it to help himself and help his friends.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's true.
Like, he's a good friend here, right? He's like, you're going to the festival, right? And there's, like, some cool shit. And your friend's like, I'm going to buy you that $50 shirt. Why? Because I know you love that band.
Yeah,
you know?
It's not like he's doing it to, like, brag. He's doing it because he just
wants to enjoy the game with his friends. And he wants them
Exactly.
all to have the app experience, you know?
It's like it's like when you're like, let's go out for drinks, and your friend is like, oh, I'm trying not to spend money right now. It's like, dude, I'll buy you a drink. Like, I want to just go get a drink with you. That's like so much more valuable than your $6 beer or whatever.
100%.
Just kidding. Get you best friends who drink $2 beers. Shout out to Emily. We went out for Emily's birthday dinner, and I was like, don't worry, babe, we'll treat. And Sean was like, we're going to treat? And I was like, her meals are like $10. That's 5 beers and 1 appetizer.
We're gonna treat. I can see Sean saying that. That's so funny.
So then a gong sounds off in the woods, and it's time to go.
Yeah. It's exciting.
I wanted to play like a sample of a gong sound right there.
So that's that. We're going to the World Cup. The next chapter is going to be exciting, but like I think in a different way, because this chapter had some really good world building in it that I really enjoyed. And like, even though it's like plot wise, it's dull, nothing's happening. It is still really a nice like tone to set before we go into the World Cup. It's kind of putting getting our guard down, so that when shit hits the fan that night with all the Death Eaters, it like really, I think, catches the reader off guard too.
It's a really good misdirection. Because this chapter is like, it's like comedic, like it's like family sitcom vibes, you know,
and like bureaucratic also.
Right,
like
it's like
government officials.
It's like also like The Office. Like it's like there's these bureaucrats finally like letting loose at the festival. It's real
and it's also like you see so much more of the wizarding community like at large.
Yeah.
And right, and this is the 4th book too. This is kind of, isn't this the first one where they did like things outside of Hogwarts before Hogwarts? Yes. So it's also that too. Like as a reader, I remember the first time you're like, oh whoa, like we're out in the world. What does that look like?
In book 3, Harry spends 2 weeks like living in Diagon Alley, so it's like baby steps into the world building.
Before the book?
I mean? Yeah.
Really? In the second, that's what, I don't remember that. Oh, in the 3rd book.
When he blows up
early?
his aunt and he like
he
takes
kind
the
of ducks
bus.
out for right. He does have that bit of like,
and so we We get like 2 weeks of him like eating ice cream and studying and shopping.
Yeah,
which sounds great.
Being rich and like renting Airbnbs and going out for nice meals and like studying. Yeah, he's living the dream. Yeah.
Treat yourself.
Clothes.
Treat yourself.
Fragrances.
Treat yourself.
Massages.
Treat yourself.
Mimosas.
Treat yourself.
Okay, great. Well, any last words about this chapter? Anything we didn't bring up? Mike, did we read all 3 of your notes?
No, there's one more, and we definitely have to go back to it because this was my middle note.
Okay.
I just wrote page 86, the accidental magic reversal squad. I love that because it's also like I was watching Men in Black last night, and it's like the scene where like they go to like the morgue, and there's like the alien bodies, and the little alien like speaks to the lady, and they flash her, and then like they're going out, and like there's a whole team coming in to like wipe the whole place down, and I'm like, this is the wizarding version of that. And like I would be on that. I would if I was a wizard, I'd love that job. You're like, where are we going today? What happened? Oh shit, they did what? All right, fuck yeah, okay. You know, that'd be a pretty fun job. But like I love the names of all the departments that like go into this chapter. Like they're almost like these little punchlines,
right?
And they're all really clever.
The thing with it's like the word accidental is funny because like in our legal system and our government, like doing things by accident like doesn't really absolve you of anything.
That's how you get sued, right? It's like exactly. I like that there's no like lawyers in the wizarding world apparently.
We always say that there's only 3 careers in Hogwarts. It's teacher, government, or entrepreneur. And, like, I'm gonna be the wizarding world's first lawyer. That's my job. That's my path.
No, don't do it. No.
I'd be a great lawyer.
I think if anyone could do it, it would be you.
I'd be a great magical lawyer.
Imagine, like, the magic small claims court. That'd be another like funny like robot chicken sketch, right? Like the wizard.
I was gonna say even like a show, like The Office.
Right.
Like it's just like fantasy.
That's hey Warner Brothers. You want a hot comedy based in the Harry Potter universe that no one's expecting? Hire me, Michael Boothby.
That would be amazing.
I would write the shit out of that. Anyways,
Grace, any last words about the chapter?
Wow. No, I think we did a great job. Good job, everybody.
Yeah, I think so too. This was a very fun episode, and it's time to move on to our plugs. I would love to start by plugging our Patreon. This month's bonus episode will sort Brooklyn Nine-Nine characters into Hogwarts houses. That's a lot of fun. That's our $5 a month tier, but honestly, for as little as $1 a month, you can join us on our Discord server, where me, Grace, and Michael hang out with the rest of our really awesome community. So it's a great place to be. Come join us. Linked in the show notes. Grace.
Yes.
Do you want people to find you on the internet? No.
No.
Don't
not very.
find me.
It's mostly because I'm boring. I don't do anything.
Find her on the Discord.
Yeah, I'm on the Discord. Head over there, folks.
What do you have that you've been reading, watching, playing, listening to, etc. lately that you have to recommend?
Yeah. So I have kind of been watching a show sporadically, and I just finished it last night. It's called Maniac. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's been out for a couple years.
Is that with oh my god, what the fuck is his name?
Jonah Hill and Emma Stone.
Yes.
Yes.
I did watch that.
The gang's
it's very
back
good.
together. You did watch it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, nice. But basically, for anyone who hasn't seen it, the story jumps between Emma's and Jonah's characters while they're participating in a pharmaceutical trial. And basically, the intention of the trial is to find a way to replace talk therapy. So during a lot of it, like the 2 characters are put into a dream state to get to, their deeper issues or whatever. And so they keep popping up in each other's dreams, which is really interesting. But because a lot of the show is made up of their dreams, there's a lot of genre hopping happening, which is cool. But yeah, it's definitely got some weird parts, some stuff that's really far out there. But overall, I finished it. I thought it was really well done, and I recommend giving it a watch.
Yeah, I support this plug. Michael, where can people find you on the internet?
Sweet. Yeah, guys, I'm on Facebook, unfortunately, still. You can find me there. You can find me on Instagram. It's at It's Michael Boothby, or is it? Send me a follow request and you'll find out. Beyond that, I have a SoundCloud as well. I've got some music online. Unfortunately, I had to stop recording because I got a noise violation here in my sister's apartment. But I'm moving to a condo soon and will be producing and recording more music. So if you want to check that out, check that out. I'm also in the Discord as well, so and definitely join. It's an amazing community. I pop in there a few times a day and just see what's going on. Pop in. Sometimes I just read it. But sometimes I like to chime in as well.
Lurking's an important role.
I like to lurk. I'm a big lurker.
So what have you been reading, watching, listening to, playing, etc. lately that you think that the listeners of our podcast would enjoy?
Ooh, okay. Well, watching, I mean, I don't think this series even needs any more endorsement than it's already getting, but I've been watching Squid Game on Netflix. It's amazing. I mean, I was watching the nightly news earlier today for the first time in forever, and even at the very end, they did a whole thing with, like, interviewing Netflix, and they're like, this might be the biggest show we've ever had in terms of people watching. It's like, it's been, like, tremendously successful. And it's like, I've had a blast watching it, too. I mean, at the very first episode, I was like, I didn't know that it was dubbed, so the whole time I was like, it doesn't, I'm like, it's not matching up. I'm like, why is it not matching up? What's going on here? And then, like, I realized after, I'm like, oh, it's dubbed. This is a voiceover.
Oh, true.
And because that's become, like, a big thing of contention online. People have been like, oh, the dubs are so bad. I'm like, oh, like, watching with subtitles is bad too. It's like, just fucking watch it. Just whichever one. Honestly, the dubs are not. I watched it with the dubs because I started it that way. Like, 6 episodes in, I'm like, maybe I should be like a purist and watch it in Korean with subtitles. And then I did it for 5 minutes. I'm like, no, I want to go back to the voices. I want the experience of watching it, you know?
My problem is that I can't just, like, sit and be still and watch TV. Like, I have to be able to look away from the TV for a couple
to listen
seconds.
And understand, for
yeah,
sure.
like, I need to be able to
That's
hear
how I felt, too. Because I like to move around during, especially if I'm binging, you know, I like to, like, work out a little bit or, you know, just move my body some. If I'm watching four 1 hour episodes, you know, gotta move. So, yeah, Squid Game's been dope. Reading, I mean, I haven't been reading much, really.
That's okay.
Games, if any of you guys play video games, highly recommend The Forest on PlayStation 4 or 5. I mean, I think it's probably on other shit too, but it's a fun survival game. Ooh. You crash in the forest, there's some cannibals, you like, I don't know, I played it like with my best childhood friend who still lives in Orlando, and like we've been like catching up through video games recently. We've been playing that game, and like I had this like moment where I'm just like chopping wood in the game. That's what I'm just cutting down trees and like I'm like
those
doing
are my favorite
work.
games.
Yeah, I'm doing like all the things that I couldn't do, like building a tent, like in this virtual world, but like it's very zen. While just talking to my best friend about like whatever, you know, but like also role playing a little bit, you know, it's fun. It's a good time.
Oh, so I love that.
Check it out. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for that. I've been your host, Christina. You can follow me on Instagram at Christina the Con. You can follow me on Twitter at Christina Con. And you can follow me on TikTok at Sprouts Private Stash. Recently, I've been watching Only Murders in the Building, which has been plugged on this podcast before. It's really excellent. I've also been listening to 5-4 podcast, which is about the Supreme Court, which Andrew plugged on this podcast, and that's really excellent also. But what I would love to plug today is The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. It's a really lovely, just like YA romance about like nature magic. It's really nice. It's like got some thoughtful commentary about climate change and just like, you know, like a pretty good love story. And it's about like witchy shit. So it's good to read for the Halloween season. So that's The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. Well, that's that. Michael, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I would love to do this again. I like honestly like reading that chapter earlier was like such a joy. Like these books are so amazing, and it's like it's cool to be able to talk to people about Harry Potter, right? Because it's like it's kind of an old thing now. I don't know. It's like not the cool thing, but it's still like it's such a special place in my heart. But would love to come back.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to have you back. And you can also hear Michael every Sunday on the Movie Night Crew. All right, gang, I gotta go finish reading The International Language of Gambling before this book tries to collect its debts. Bye.
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 The Restricted Section is a member of the Movie Night Crew Network, which features other amazing podcasts such as its namesake, The Movie Night Crew, which is an extra chaotic podcast featuring the gang just shooting the shit about whatever movie they just watched.
Alrighty.
It's movie night.
Grab your popcorn,
Grab your coffee.
Grab your friend.
Grab a cat.
Let's go.
who directed this?
What year did it come out?
Is that girl from that show?
Who wrote this?
Where's the cat?
Who would you rather bang?
Pass the popcorn.
Does this pass the Bechdel test?
What about the Steve Buscemi test?
Does a woman literally speak in this movie?
Oh my god, a dog.
This reminds me of in Harry Potter when...
Are we recording?
What did the critics say?
It's a guilty pleasure.
What's your rating?
Can you be quiet?
Oh my god.
Movie Night Crew.
It's just like watching movies with your friends.
And then arguing about it after.
Every Sunday, wherever you get podcasts.
The Restricted Section was created by me, Christina Kahn, based on the book series by J.K. Rowling. All music by Ryan Kahn. Logo by Michael Hardison. Support us on patreon.com/restricted section. For as little as $1 a month, you can gain access to our Discord community server, which is a really happy place to be. And there are other rewards as well, such as bonus episodes and Zoom happy hour hangouts. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Restricted Section Pod, on Twitter at Restricted Pod, and on Facebook at Restricted Section Pod. Also, feel free to shoot us an email at restrictedsectionpod@gmail.com to share your thoughts, feelings, complaints, conspiracy theories, or even lavish praise. There are certain people who can be trusted with the notes and certain people who can't, and Grace is the kind of person who she can be trusted.
That movie sucked.
I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.